Hello and welcome to today's episode on the future prospect of films. I'm Amrita Ghosh Kumar. The subject expert for today's program is Suman Bajaj Kalra. She has been a media professional for 3 decades, primarily working in television and occasionally in radio and the print media. Cinema of any country is a vibrant part of the cultural fibre of that country, as it reflects the developments and events of the society and their impact on the lives of the people. Films reflect the collective mind of a society. Cinema or films have held a sway on the minds of people globally. No other medium of communication has as much power to attract, reflect, entertain, and influence society as the film medium has. It is both intensely artistic and technical a craft. It is called the mother of all arts because of the vast variety of arts that come together to make a film. For example, literature, music, acting, singing, costume design, social sciences, and understanding of cultures, traditions, and the human psyche, and spatial arts like painting, stagecraft, architecture, and interior design. The intrinsic value of films lies in the fact that they mirror a society in all its colors, that glorify it along with dark shadows of gloom that coexist. At times, they allow us a peep into where we are heading, so that we are able to take a stark and realistic view of who we are. Films are the most powerful human document of any society, nation, or culture. Sociologists and modern historians rely a great deal on cinema for their study of evolution of modern societies. Of course, we cannot forget the most important service they provide to society, that of providing wholesome entertainment through drama, music, fantasy, and sheer visual aura, often combining with a social statement. In recent times, there has been a lot of debate and concern about the survival and growth of films. This has been caused as much by the inroads technology has made into the area of films as it is due to the changing face of films in terms of content, treatment, and the objective they serve, or do not serve as the traditionalists would have us believe. The film world has changed drastically over the years. Much of this change has come about for commercial reasons, or in other words, the desire to reach out to ever-expanding markets across countries and continents and boost profits. Technology has stepped in to make that exercise viable, profitable, and easy. A film can be defined as a combination of 1. Content, that is the story along with its subtext if any. 2. Creative vision of the writer or director duo who lend it a certain artistic treatment to enhance its appeal and entertainment value. 3. Technology, whether analog or digital, which is deployed to produce the film. It consists of camera, sound and light equipment, editing machine, and the processes of film production. Films are a product of industrialization of the Western world, particularly America at the end of the 19th century. There has been a revolutionary development in technology since then. It continues to develop at an even faster pace in today's digital revolution that has taken the world by storm. It is thanks to this digital revolution that the device between a computer software aided product and films is blurred, raising fears about the future prospects of films. Films are now relying more and more on computer softwares to give them slickness and the speed of production, and in certain aspects, even economy of budget. From production to distribution and onto exhibition, digitization has made inroads into the film medium in a manner that appears to be irreversible. It must be remembered that digitization has not only facilitated the production of films but has also given it a look and character which was not associated with films till now. It is an unstoppable tide giving rise to the question, what happens to the identity or rather existence of films or the cinema we have known and loved all our lives? Traditionally speaking, films have been a storehouse of talent, created by the vision of highly gifted people using celluloid as the medium, carefully and artistically developed in the film laboratories to do justice to the sensitivity and aesthetics of treatment. Film was lovingly nurtured over time by filmmakers who put in their best talents, honed with dedication and care. Celluloid has its own appeal, unmatched by the stark sharpness of a digital image. No wonder then that the films were known as dreams on celluloid. But when we deliberate about the future of films, we have to look into all the aspects of film: content, technology, costs of funding, production, distribution, exhibition, and preservation, because these are crucial to the survival and progress of film as a medium. Now let us look at these in some detail. Content relates to the subject or theme of the film. Second, to the story of the film. Third, characterization. Fourth, narrative style and treatment. And all of it conveyed through dialogue, acting, and other sound supports. If you look at the history of Indian or world cinema, films very aptly or dutifully reflects the culture and the times a particular society was passing through at a given time. Stories were written to make a statement or a comment on that society, often also to explore the rich culture, the literature, and the history of a nation. Films were nurtured with loving care at every stage by their makers, and it took a long time getting ready due to the lengthy creative and laboratory processes. The frenetic pace of storytelling was willy-nilly absent. The viewers who could identify with them found them to be relevant and entertaining and took to them in a big way. Films began to be considered as a higher form of art and an integral part of people's lives. There were sporadic fantasies, adventures, and sci-fi films, but by and large, it was people's cinema more focused on telling people's stories rather than creating wonders. This was the 120-year-long analog celluloid era. Talking specifically about India, this was the 90-year-long 35mm celluloid dominated analog era. Intervention of computers and modern technology have not only changed the way we tell our stories, but also drastically changed the character of the stories that filmmakers take up. The form and the content of films are designed to create wonders with magical machines called computers. The traditionalists and ardent film lovers lament the fading away of languorous storytelling through soft images of grainy celluloid format and cry foul at the inroads modern technology has made into films. The unrealistic compression of time, one of the most important elements of cinema, does not disorient the modern film viewers. The current film scenario is very bright and very encouraging, since it has given rise to independent film production activity, free from the clutches of big studios. Small budget, serious, and artistic cinema coexists with big budget, big banner, and big star kind of cinema. Now, technology is the king now and virtually dictates how films are going to be made. It has totally captured the imagination of the filmmaker. The approach of filmmakers seemed to be what kind of story and storytelling should there be so that all the functions of the magic machines can be utilized to make mesmerizing films, rather than how do we use the machines most effectively so that they enhance and serve the purpose of our realistic stories of human experiences. Special effects and the most advanced editing softwares have made the task of filmmaking easier and faster. Script writing softwares not only format the scripts in internationally accepted standard formats for various genres, but also help you with tips should you be stuck for ideas to move forward in the story. Editing softwares have made editing quick and easy, as they produce all the effects in a jiffy, put things in memory, allowing you alternatives, second thoughts, and change of mind. The editor no longer has to be overcautious while cutting, have a huge store of his memory, and to dump the footage beyond retrieval. Same is the situation with sound, whether capturing or projection, as 5.1 and 7.1 surround sound immerse one in the total experience. Digital formats are user-friendly, functional, and easy. It is a warfare there with the frames per second or FPS rate. The higher the FPS, sharper the picture. Gone is the old lyricism of black and white photography or nuanced color photography of the analog era, which was achieved with a great sense of aesthetics and a great effort. In 2009, digital accounted for 15% of global screens. The predictions are that by 2012, 63% screens the world over would be digital and 83% by 2015. The same technology is also beginning to be used in cell phones, laptops, camcorders, and digital cameras. With the result, these feature films can be viewed on these small handheld devices. Let us take a look at the Indian scenario vis-a-vis digital screenings in theatres. Old cinema on reels prints are becoming rare and redundant. New films are distributed through digital prints because of their cost effectiveness, which 1/5 of the analog print, and speed of duplication. Barely 25% films rely on celluloid print projection, with the number dwindling day by day. In 2008, Jodha Akbar was released partially in digital prints, but in 2009, Rajniti has 60% prints on digital. Lately, of the 1,888 prints of the film Agnipath, 1,100 were digital. Singham, 423 physical prints versus 1,207 digital prints. Bodyguard, 585 physical prints versus 1,479 digital. Ravan, 583 prints physical versus 2,517 digital. Rockstar, 364 prints physical versus 2,000 digital. Dawn 2, 478 prints physical versus 2,448 digital. This trend is on the rise as more and more smaller town theatres adopt digital technology and multiplex culture. worldwide distribution compels filmmakers to embrace digital technology in addition to the cost and time-saving factors. Generally, the current ratio is just 1/4 or less number of prints are in analog physical reels. The rest are all in digital. Analog survives due to the absence of latest technology in small town theatres. The Indian film industry became an industry in the year 2000, almost at par with the film industries of the developed world like the North America and Europe. This development bade a goodbye to the play of black money in production of films. Banks and corporate funding stepped in to take its place. Thanks to technology and the newly discovered multiplicity of platforms of film viewing, including handheld devices like the cell phones, tablets, etc., in addition to laptops, desktops, home theatres, DVDs, CDs, investing in films has become attractive for the corporate sector and business houses. Film business is risky, but the cleverness with which the marketing and pre-sales are done, the risk of investment sinking is less, even if the film does not do well at the box office. It became much easier for the producer to raise money without being hounded by an unscrupulous moneylender. Simultaneously, the new developments in film production technology has made production easier and less costly because now the production takes less time, giving relief to the producer burdened with heavy interest rates. It has given an impetus to the producers to increase film production activity. As the film industry gets more and more organized and transparent, other sources of funding would emerge on the scene. India has probably one of the most liberal investment regimes amongst the emerging economies, permitting 100% foreign direct investment or FDI in all film-related activities such as film financing, production, distribution, exhibition, marketing, and so on. This provision has made the Indian film market attractive for foreign enterprises such as the 20th Century Fox, Sony Pictures, Disney, and Warner Brothers. In 2009, India produced a total of 2,961 films on celluloid that include a staggering figure of 1,288 feature films. By the end of 2010, it was reported that in terms of annual film output, India ranked first, followed by America or the Hollywood and China. Given that 14 million Indians go to the movies on a daily basis to see any of the over 800 films produced by Mumbai film industry each year, that's more than double the number of feature films produced annually in the United States. The Indian film industry is expected to grow annually at almost 18% to reach around Indian rupees 600 billion, that is approximately US dollars 13 billion by 2011 to 2012. There has been a revolutionary growth in the consumption and distribution platform of films. Due to the factors mentioned above and as much due to the culture of aggressive marketing, film is seen as a product that must be distributed and exhibited extensively with an eye on profits. Granted, films were always made for the sole purpose of reaching out to the largest viewership. But the reason for wanting so was also a desire to say something to the audience. Films carried messages or laid bare some social evil or the other which a filmmaker felt strongly about. Now films are being seen as mere products for marketing at the best price to the biggest markets. The platforms for exhibition have increased, and so have the rights. Earlier, films were made for theatrical releases. Now, they are made for exhibition on many other devices, small or big, that technology has gifted to us. Pay-per-view and movie-on-demand services have caught on and added to the popularity of films. Cyberculture has given wings to films. In addition, the spread of the Indian diaspora has added to the market and profitability of films. Indian films are beginning to be noticed in significant international film festivals like the Academy Awards or the Oscars, the Cannes Film Festival, the BAFTA, the Sundance, and many others, which results in wider market for our films. Film producers and distributors are finding new ways to attract and sustain people's attention through merchandise, games, grand events, and using television platforms extensively for publicizing their films. Often, for big productions, documentaries are released on making of these films, arousing an interest and an anticipation even before the release of the film. Considering the Indian scenario, the fear of film losing its identity is baseless. In fact, India is by far the largest producer of films in the world and also distributes them across the world. It is not only the Indian diaspora but also the international community that watches Indian films with great interest. 29% of the total entertainment revenue comes from films. This ratio is big considering the many sources of entertainment, television, and music being big. We have already mentioned above how some of the biggest international studios are coming to India to either co-produce films or to invest in them. They're also into marketing of Indian films internationally. Globally, Indian cinema has markets in over 90 countries where Indian films are regularly screened. The Indian government sends film delegations to countries such as the USA, the UK, China, Russia, the Middle East, and to Japan, while the country's Film Producers Guild sends similar missions throughout Europe. The Indian diaspora consists of millions of Indians overseas for whom films are made. These films are available through mediums such as the internet, Netflix, DVDs, and screening of films in their country of residence anywhere in the world. Any doubts or fears related to the future of cinema seem unfounded, so long as we are prepared to accept the infusion of new technology into films and not see it as a threat to the film, narrative or otherwise. Yes, the culture has changed, and so has the outlook. Often, one finds filmmakers looking for stories that would do justice to the marvels of softwares rather than the softwares at the service of the story. No longer does the story have a mind of its own and dictates how it wishes to be told. There are two masters it serves: the market forces or demands and technology. Some would also say stars, which is equally true. But the brighter side is that thanks to the corporatization of the film industry, the independent and committed filmmakers are flourishing. They are bringing new and fresh stories to the screens. Stories that make a statement, as also stories that people can identify with and not just be awed by. This is a happy sign. The industry is growing each year in sheer number of films that are produced, the quantum of finance that is going into film production, and the territorial expansion of film distribution. film medium is still mesmerizing the audience as more and more filmmakers are experimenting with it, making films on cell phones or participating in ever-growing events of 48 Hours Film Production Project, inviting participation of young filmmakers from across the globe to contribute their fresh outlook and creativity to filmmaking. Film festivals are growing in numbers day by day, and so are cell phone cinema festivals. People are experimenting with technology and storytelling and uploading their films on the internet for the world to see. Film is here to stay, grow, attract, and entertain people for generations. We just have to give in to technology and the reality of marketing culture. The multiplex culture is here to stay and spread, offering a variety of films and convenience of viewing at one venue. At the end of the day, it is not the format or the medium, whether digital or celluloid, that makes a film. It is the story that makes a film, and our world is replete with stories to tell. The traditionalist romanticism needs to embrace the modern pragmatism, and the rest is fine with the world of films. So that is all we have for you in this program. We'll see you again with another important topic. Till then, goodbye.